I'm Abraham George. It's my wife, Mary, and we have two sons, Ajit, who's the elder boy, and the younger one, Vivek. I was born in Kerala, in Trivandrum, and at the age of 21, I left India for America. But during that period of 21 years, I joined the Indian military service and got trained at the National Defense Academy and the Indian Military Academy, the officers training schools, and went on to become an officer in the Indian Army, the artillery regiment, and served for 3 years from the age of 18 to 21 before I came to America. Getting into the National Defense Academy was considered very prestigious those days, and so prepared for it and got into the army. And my first posting was to the border with China, actually at an altitude of 14,000 feet above sea level in the Himalayas. It is a place called Sela, through which the Chinese had, in the northeast sector of India, the Chinese had invaded India, and famous places like Tawang, that is on the border with China. Dalai Lama crossed over to Tawang and to Sela, through the Sela Pass, where I was posted. I was the first Indian officer to take medium artillery guns to that altitude of 14,000 feet. I got the letter to go to the Pakistan border. So there I was sent to Jammu Kashmir sector and on the border with Pakistan. So I was in Pathankot, Jammu, that line, and there I was there for a year and a half, 2 years, during which time a couple of officers got shot, and I got 2 field promotions and became a captain in the Indian Army.
I'm Mariam George, born in Jamshedpur, India. My parents come originally from Kerala, and my mother is related to Abraham's mother through marriage, not directly related. And I did my master's in India in political science. Finished my high school, went to Women's College in Jamshedpur, and then to masters in Ranchi University. From there,
And I turned up there.
And then he turned up. So for half an hour, no, 1 hour or 2 hours, and then he said, come over to States, and we got married.
An uncle of mine said, hey, there's a pretty girl out there, would you like to go? I said, okay, so I hopped into the plane, somehow got to Calcutta and then to Jamshedpur, and surprised her and her family by turning up into the house. Who is this guy walking in? And I asked her, why did you decide to marry me? She said, I had taken off my shoes. She said, I like your foot.
That's ridiculous.
So that's why she married me. I didn't know.
He's handsome, well qualified, was a PhD candidate. Yes, that's the reason. Plus his mother and father.
No, I don't trust you. I don't believe you. What prompted me to come to America was not so much my understanding of what America was all about, but in a way the opportunities that I thought I will have in pursuing another career outside of the military.
I came to America because I got married. I got married in Hackensack, New Jersey. I was here for only 15 days, and after that I did get married. So the initial experience, I would say, is that my sister-in-laws were here. They guided me through ins and outs of staying in this country. But I think the one thing I noticed myself being different from them is I used to wear a sari. And my sister-in-law, they used to wear dresses and pants and all. And I felt out of place. Then also the challenges in trying to get a job. I think assimilation was a little tough. Once my older son started going to school, I felt more at ease. I felt part of the US.
I've been in America now 51 years, so it's a long time. We are one of the first immigrants to America, I mean one of the earlier immigrants to America. And when I first came in the late 1960s, there wasn't even one Indian restaurant in Manhattan. But today, look at that. And if you wanted a 220 volt appliance, you had to go to a Jewish shop to get one. So buying a gift for your friends in India, anything electronic needed the service of a non-Indian shop. So a lot of things have happened in these years. Before I turned 50, I said, this is it. I went off and went to Bangalore, India. I had a good friend here in America. She had left for Bangalore. She said she will organize a group of people who will help me establish a foundation or a trust to start the idea that I had, which was take children from the poorest of the poor, bring them up just as I would bring up my own children. I started the foundation. At that time, it was called the George Foundation, and later on, the George Foundation was split into two different foundations, the George Foundation and Shanti Bhavan Educational Trust. That is how the school got established, and it was the beginning of fulfilling my childhood dream or young days dream of making a big impact on India, not realizing that no one single person can really make a big impact. You can do a tiny impact, but I had great ideas and I just began to make a small impact. But I guess what impacted me was what I observed while I was growing up. And somehow I was really affected by the discrimination that people faced and the lack of opportunity to come out of their problems, the social status that have prevailed for 1,500 years. And I didn't see them having an opportunity to come out. So here I was looking for a way that would make a difference. And people told me that children from those types of backgrounds will never succeed. The debate of nature versus nurture was going on. A lot of people said genetic factors are so overwhelmingly powerful that no matter what I do, whether I give them the best education, they're never going to succeed. They don't have role models and so on and so on. I wanted to prove to the world that these kids will also be just as successful as kids from affluent families. So this was almost, on one hand, it was a drive to make a difference, but on the other hand, it was also like a businessman's challenge to overcome what others said is not possible. I didn't have real training in running a school, but I had by then formed some very guiding ideas or principles. The first was that if the children from this kind of poor background and socially discriminated background are to grow up well, then I must get them at a very young age. So the first decision I made was that I should have children at the age of 3.5 or 4 years of age with me, and I should have them throughout the day and most of the year, except that they go home for a couple of months vacation and don't lose the ties to the families, but they have to be under my care. Otherwise, I cannot bring about the change that I want. That was the first thing that I came to a conclusion. I want them to have a better life. I want them to go out and transform their societies rather than put them back into their huts. For them, this is their home. And we want to have this home for them for the rest of their lives. Before they learn the alphabets or the numbers, I have to make them feel great. They should think of themselves as great kids. They are just as good as anyone else. They are beautiful kids. They should run around free. They should speak. They should loudly, they should just sing and dance and be on stage and express themselves and feel good about themselves. If they really think at the age of 4 they are smart, then everybody admires them, everybody loves them. If I can create that environment, then learning will be easier. The other aspect is virtues or values that they need to acquire. And Shanti Bhavan by itself doesn't have any position it takes on the issues of the day in the world. We leave it to the children to form their own views about things. But what we do is we expose them to ideas. For example, globally shared values, honesty. Nobody disputes. It's not a country-based or anything like that. Everybody shares in the value of honesty, personal integrity, transparency. Nobody can argue about all those things. So we emphasize on those things. But there is something else we teach them, which is very important, and that is the idea of kindness, generosity, reaching out and helping someone who is suffering. The result is every one of our graduates from college is working in top firms. Goldman Sachs, Ernst & Young, Mercedes-Benz, Deloitte, name the top companies they're working. And those who are not in technology or business, like Shilpa, who wrote a book somewhere here. She wrote the book, The Elephant Chaser's Daughter. At the age of 16, she started writing a book. Today on Amazon, it is 4.9 rating for this book out of 5. So all these things have happened because of the way we bring up the children.
In the book, I attempt to capture my life and struggles that I experienced while living between the two worlds that fill my life. The Elephant Chaser's Daughter. It is both my personal story and that of my family going back several generations. It is also about my experiences at a boarding school started by an American philanthropist for children from economically and socially disadvantaged backgrounds.
I came to Shanti Bhavan when I was 3.5 years old. Before I came to Shanti Bhavan, I had lived in a home that was made of mud and the roof was made of coconut leaf.
We have some 75 people living in the campus because it's a residential campus. You need teachers, you need caregivers, you need cleaning staff, cooks, security guards, and on and on and on. 75 people living there. My biggest challenge is how do I make all of them embrace the same values? Because it is the whole institution, the culture of the institution that makes that institution, and how the product, the children, what they become is not by what we preach, but how we live. Hopefully, after my time, the culture will continue. And Ajit, my second son, has joined me 10 years ago. And he is obviously brought up with the same values, so he is well equipped and he loves the children. And so my wife will be joining next year. She's retiring from her work. We both are going to be living in the campus, and she will contribute to the same idea. And that's what Shanti Bhavan is all about.
I'm the Director of Operations for the Shanti Bhavan School, and our program is exclusively for children from India's lowest social and economic class, in most cases, the untouchables. We offer all of our children a free boarding school education from preschool until 12th grade, including a robust arts, academic, and athletic program. We cover everything for them: food, clothing, housing, and medical care. And once they've graduated from high school, we pay for their entire undergraduate college degree, mentoring and supporting them throughout the entire process. That is 17 years of intense educational intervention per child from the age of 4 until 21. Shanti Bhavan is the only school of its type in the entire world, and it represents a radical shift from the traditional nonprofit educational model.
We have under our care 310 children. Remember, this is a unique program in the sense that our mission is to transform society through these children by caring for them and doing everything we need to do from the first day of school, which is at kindergarten, preschool level, to first day of work, which is after they finish the college. So our program is 17 to 18 years. We have to take care of them, pay for their tuition in college and their residency, everything else. So we have 260 or so in the school itself and 50 in college, so 310 nearly. And then there are some 50, 60 kids already working. So altogether some 360 kids are in some way associated. The reason I include them is because for them, the Shanti Bhavan is still their home. They grew up there, they love to come to Shanti Bhavan. This girl who wrote to me last week, she said, I can't tell you, when I walk into Shanti Bhavan, the smell of the air makes me so emotional.
Money draining out constantly and not coming in. And I said, yes, it's easy to build a beautiful school building. Shanti Bhavan is very pretty, very beautiful. Who's going to maintain it? Yes, we have the initial funds. We have to continue. It's not a one-year project, not a 5-year project. It's a project forever. We can't just pick up children from 4-year-old and bring it to our school and at 5th grade or 6th grade tell them, well, we don't have the funds, so we close the school. We are getting old, so who is going to take care of, who has this vision? Who has this dedication? Older son is into it, so at least we have a person there.
We got ourselves into a difficult situation in 2008 when the financial crisis came about. Until 2008, the first 12 years or so, I wasn't doing any fundraising. All the money, I had made in my business career was, I thought will last forever. And then, the markets collapsed and the real estate investments collapsed and so many things happened that we found ourselves in a difficult situation, unable to support the school. And don't forget, the school runs on a budget when you have 300 plus children and at a cost of just over $4 per child per day. Okay, it might sound very little, the price of a Starbucks coffee. for everything we do, education, um, residential care, medical care, entertainment, name anything. All of that is done within $4 equivalent in rupees per day. But you multiply that by 300 plus children, multiply that by 365 days, you are close to $500,000 in budget a year. And that is not very easy unless you have income coming in, and I had left everything. And I was living off the money I had 12 years, in addition to the initial investment of several $1 million. All of that had drained out my cash. I asked my elder son, Ajit, to join me. He joined and started fundraising, and in these 10 years has done a marvelous job convincing people, especially those in the United States and outside India, because that's where his advantage is, and has been able to mobilize support for Shanti Bhavan.
This time in the 2008 financial crisis, a moment when Abraham kind of thought shutting the school.
Because I couldn't fund it.
Yes, because we couldn't fund it. The teachers rallied. They took a cut in pay. Emotional.
Yeah, but don't worry. Now the question is, how do you save it? And we did save it. And today it's stronger than ever before. In these 10 years, a lot of people have come forward. And the school is running beautifully well. And so...
Yes, I think most of the challenges are behind us. It's just to create an endowment fund now. That's the current issue we have. So that if there is any such, situation we face in the future, we can at least, the funds will carry the children forward.
And something else happened, and that is very important for people to know, and that is, until those 12 years, people saw Shanti Bhavan as Abraham George's school.
Yes.
Today, it's a global institution. Everyone from all over the world is part of it, whether it is just $100 or $10,000 or $100,000. It doesn't matter. You have several hundred people involved, and the school has opened up. It's a global institution, not only because of the contributors are from all over the world, but the children themselves have embraced every nationality. We have volunteers. At any given time, there are 10 to 15 international volunteers working there. We have had over 600 volunteers from all over the world, including mainland China. They come, they serve the children. Markets collapsed, stocks like Oracle, Microsoft were at 1/3 the value, and suddenly a chain reaction took place. If you bought stocks on margin, you got margin call, and all these kinds of things.
Even our home was valued at $3 million.
The home we were living at was valued at $3.5 million, and we just sold it for a song for $1 million.
Yeah.
$1 million. Just paid the bank $1 million and walked away. And the whole house had beautiful antique furniture. Just threw it off. Where do I take it? But we remember sitting at night before the house was given away, sitting with cartons in front of us, packing all the silver and all the little china, the beautiful china we had, and we both of us sitting and packing in newspapers and putting into the carton, and realizing for her it was a very emotional thing, for me also, but I didn't show her. We are leaving all these things and going somewhere where we didn't even have a house. We had four homes, two in Florida, one facing Manhattan on the Hudson River, West New York.
West New York, yeah.
West New York, facing Manhattan.
Buffalo Court.
If you go along River Road, you'll find beautiful homes facing Manhattan. A 4-story apartment. We had all those things. Everything was sold out. Completely sold it in 1 year. There was no asset left. No asset left. Just all that money went back to Shanti Bhavan, to save Shanti Bhavan. My sister and my mother gave all her life savings to Shanti Bhavan. Entire life saving. It didn't go to any of the children. The entire life saving. And she almost made $1 million in savings. All of that went to Shanti Bhavan. My sisters, they all lent me money. The family lent money. My brother lent me money. And I paid them off over these years. In fact, some of it from our own earnings. She's the only one who was working. I didn't have any income. I was busy doing this. So I give you a lot of credit because you have been the breadwinner for the last 10 years, not me. There were a lot of very good people, mostly in America, who came forward and wrote a check for $10,000, $5,000. Like that they wrote to fill this gap until we are able to launch a fundraising effort. Turning point for me psychologically, emotionally, was the day I made a decision that no matter what happens, Shanti Bhavan will not shut down. So I stood in front of the whole school and the parents and I said, no matter what happens, exactly that's what I said, no matter what happens, Shanti Bhavan will not shut down. We have to study under candlelights, we will study under candlelights. If we don't have teachers, those of us who volunteer to stay here will teach you under the banyan tree. We will do whatever. We don't have anything to eat, we'll grow vegetables in our own farm. Whatever it takes, we will do it. We will not shut it down. And children and the staff completely turned this around. They said, we will do everything. We will clean the dishes, we will clean the lawns, we'll cut the lawns, we'll do everything that is needed to save the school. And that was the turning point. But nothing is lost, nothing is lost. Everything is gained.
Every one of them are helping. Chaitra is helping her 2 siblings to go to school. What happened is Chaitra got a scholarship. She finished a bachelor's in India.
Worked for Goldman Sachs.
Worked for Goldman Sachs for 4 years. Then Ajit arranged for an NRI to give a scholarship to 2 kids.
I am very happy to be with my friends in thanking you all for attending this special occasion. Your presence really matters to us, and we really thank you all for that. We all believe that girls' education is very important because girls can change the future someday.
If I were to say one thing to the whole world, I would say that Shanti Bhavan is the best home anyone could ever have.
I ultimately judge the success of our program from what you become, not just professionally, but as human beings. The values by which you live, the leadership qualities that you have, and what you do for others.